Hi everybody. I am in Detroit at or Dearborn actually, at the site of the Henry Ford Village and Museum. And the village is closed, but the museum isn't. So we're going to go through here. And have you ever wondered what the early Fords look like with an exploded view? This is it. Not real complicated, pretty easy to understand, and you can see how they came up with the whole idea of different modules coming in and getting bolted together with the assembly line and cranking them out. So we're going to go through this, and I'm going to show you some highlights of what I find, but obviously there's no way I'm going to be able to show you everything. So let's take a look and see what I can find. Keep my mask on. So with American innovation and the idea of factory made instead of a hand loom, you had a powered loom. So you make cloth faster, and just some cool machinery right there. You know, and that just went out to the farms too. I mean, I still know some people that own these and still use them, but they drag them behind a tractor. Actually, well, this is made to be dragged behind a tractor. They do have some that are ground driven. Actually, this one is ground driven. And, you know, instead of using horses, now they use a tractor. And one guy dragged it behind a Jeep. So, and then, yeah, the guy who dragged it behind a Jeep was me. Here's something like the fabric factory. This would have been another type of loom like the other one, and we know when this all started. You know, I'm sure you've seen the pictures of the child labor, and you think of all this stuff, all this whirring and moving equipment, very dangerous. So it wasn't just adults doing this. And so if you woodworkers out there, this is a Douglas planer, and obviously that big disc rotates around and would plane the wood down from the rough sawn to give you a nice smooth and the thickness you wanted. Different length planks because of the pressure. You've got these the dogs you could put in to butt the wood up against as it's pushing through and sliding back. And this is sort of cool, is how telephones evolved. Here's the early models. Right down through. Mine's been butt set, but I actually made one out of a Princess phone that was like that. I actually liked that one down there. On up to cell phones. Looks like they stopped at the brick. Okay, you see this bus? This sat out in a field used for storage for 30 years, and eventually came here to the museum and got restored. And why this bus? Well, this is actually the bus that Rosa Parks didn't give up her seat, as basically she was tired of it all and protest. I didn't realize, I never knew the date. Turns out 1955, I was 2. in some of our other videos, remember we've been to the Civil Rights Museum and with the first lunch counter protest. And just look back through my videos, there's a whole lot of different ones. And it's just sort of cool that we're seeing the actual bus. Well, this is the original manufacturer's plate, and I don't know if you can make it out, but right up in there, that paint around the number, that's the original paint. But this was totally stripped out, and they said used for storage, and then it got restored to as you see it now. Now that is an interesting rocker. I'm gonna guess somebody was really bored one winter when they put this together and did the curving. Now, any of my country friends, you never know. There's all kinds of tractors. Wow, that's an old Alice tricycle. That is so bizarre. I mean, the Ford 8N classic. It just, some of this equipment, like this one, try to figure out what that is. Oh, it's a cotton picker. Self-propelled cotton picker. And a tomato harvester. And for those serious farming back in the day, this big steam one from the Avery Company. Pretty cool. I've heard of the Mold-A-Rama, and this thing is going to make me a copy of the Rosa Parks bus in a matter of seconds. These two things coming together, form a mold with injection hot plastic, and I have to be really careful when it comes out because drops of hot plastic may remain. And there it is. Very own Rosa Parks bus, and you know where that's going. Of course, if you want a 65 Mustang or a head of Lincoln, same thing. They have got a collection of huge steam engines and dynamos and as a child vacationing in Maine, I remember going into Portland to tour a battleship. Couldn't tell you the name of the battleship. The thing that I remember the most is looking up and seeing one of these Ford tri-motors flying over, and my dad being amazed that, you know, he's like very excited to see one. I mean, this is a 1928 one, so very distinctive with the three motors and the very shiny aluminum siding basically. And what was since that day, you know, a couple that I've run across are the ones that it just brings back that day standing on the wharf waiting to go on to that battleship. So we've visited Kitty Hawk, and they have quite the collection of planes and famous planes. The thing on Amelia Earhart. And these guys. First to fly over the North Pole. I mean, the skis, the freaking toboggans. And it's a tri-motor. So can you imagine being a wing walker on one of these planes, you know, just hanging upside down and just I mean, I'm sure that must have been belted in, but can you imagine doing that? Not me. So you're a wing walker, and this is the sight you see. You're flying around. Well, thanks. I think I'll pass. As you can imagine, being this is the Henry Ford. The Ford Museum, there is pretty much every kind of Ford you could think of here. Maybe not every single year, but there's a lot of cars. And the one thing that I find really interesting is this. It's called the X8 engine. As you can see, it's basically the cylinders are an X with 2 cylinders at each point, and it's a central shaft, and it didn't really work very well from what I understand. And they tried it in 1920, kind of secret project to design it. Took place at Ford's home, not with the company, but they abandoned the attempt in 1926. It just didn't work out. But what Henry said was, failure is only an opportunity more intelligently to begin again. Now this 1908 Model S Roadster, I didn't know, still don't understand the Model A and B and S, how they came up with that. Maybe somewhere here will explain it, but I mean, here's a Model A runabout. Any of these I would love to have as a Toad. So this 1949 Volkswagen split rear window. I mean, I would love to find one of these things. '32 Roadster. Great American Hot Rod. Now, wouldn't that be fun to find, have a barn find of one of these? I just want to go camping. We've seen one of these before. If it'll pop up from 1927 and 1949 Airstream, 59 Volkswagen Westphalia. Think about it. 1959, the late 60s, that would have been a prime hippie mobile because it would have been cheap to get. 1831. Went Clinton. This is a reproduction of the third railroad they actually are made. And they actually use this kind of thing on rails, and they just already had stagecoach bodies, so why not use them?
In 1952, this
And I'll be pretty comfortable. What was this? You know, footrest, and these literally leather springs, so they literally are stagecoach bodies. The driver's seat, the whole thing, just put them on steel wheels. They've got a collection, and this Allegheny locomotive is probably the biggest one I've ever seen. Well, let's go take a look up inside. If they let us. Nope, it's temporarily closed. But that thing is massive. I mean, it's got to be a good 14, 15 feet high. Well, as opposed to this one, the Sam Hill, with a wooden housing around the engineer. The evolution of car seats. What I'm not seeing is the kind that I rode in. Well, it was similar to that. Oh, it had a steering wheel. Sort of like that kid. So, on long trips, I would be driving the car. I slammed on the brakes at accident. I would have been impaled on that thing. Now this is Reagan's limousine. And of course the handlebar for the Secret Service to hang on. And then JFK's 61 Lincoln. And this is a 1950 Lincoln for the bubble top for Eisenhower. Sort of reminiscent of the Pope Mobile, don't you think? And then down here, they call it the Sunshine Special, 1939 Lincoln Franklin Delano Roosevelt convertible. Massive. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the Ford Museum with this Douglas DC3 and go see what else I can find. Unfortunately, the village is closed, just the museum is open. Rather expensive. They charge you $6 for parking and $25 for me to get in. Thanks to my patrons, I can able to do this. A lot of cool stuff here, and I did not show you nearly a tenth of what's here. Again, it's sort of cool. I'd rather the village, but hey, pandemic, certain things we just can't do. So I'm gonna get on the road and see what I can do. So good, wear your masks and stay safe, people, and we'll see you down the road.
prices. Brace yourselves and come for your women. We will do